everybody, you're tuned in to another episode of the Flea Flicker Show. We are your hosts, Brett and Dre. We drop new episodes every Wednesday and Friday in the NFL season. Subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at Flea Flicker Show. Dre, tell them what the fuck we got going on.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, so we got the wild card preview pod, and it's going to be pretty awesome. We got 6 games to cover, and there's some really cool storylines, to be honest, in here, and I'm pretty pumped to see what's going on. But before we talk about any of that, we have a guest in this episode. Welcome into the show, LJ.
But thank you guys. It's an honor to be here. Appreciate it. Give you a little bit of my takes for this wild card weekend coming up. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome in, buddy. You handsome devil. Just so everyone knows, he is a dentist, he is single, and he is musically talented. He's going to be making our jingle for the pod. Like I said, this is the year of the perfect storylines for every game. The script writers they've gone over like out of control this year. They made everything perfect, and it's going to be wild, man.
Yeah, there's a few games this week where it's just like, how is that even possible that is how things shook out? I mean, in my mind, there's 3 that pop out right away: Browns, Texans, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Lions. But we'll get into them. If you want to start this off, give us the intro to the games here, Dre.
Yeah, dude. Obviously, the Ravens and the 49ers will not be playing. They both get a well-deserved rest this week. But the rest of the playoff field is going to be at war this weekend and Monday. And let's get right into them, man. The first game on the ballot, I guess. The first game Saturday at 4:30. We got the Brownies heading to Houston to take on the Texans, and you said it already. This one's got a big script with it already. Deshaun Watson was traded from the Texans to the Browns just a few years ago, with the Browns expecting to immediately become better, and the Texans, they were in a state of disarray. But now things have changed for both squads. Deshaun Watson obviously will be on the sidelines, but it's just crazy that Houston is meeting him in the playoffs with his replacement in CJ Stroud. And Stroud, honestly, I think there's an argument that he's looked better in his rookie year than Deshaun Watson ever did.
Yeah. 4,000 passing yards his rookie season is nothing to scoff at. And Stroud, the savior, in Houston, is going to be leading them to greener pastures. And I think it's going to be an excellent game. I think both defenses are performing at a high level right now, and it'll be fun to see the vet and Flacco versus the young kid and Stroud. So I'm going to go with CJ Stroud in this game. I think he's going to ball out up against that defense. The Singletary and the run game are performing as well. Nico Collins and CJ Stroud have a huge connection. They've made the comment before about how Collins was at Michigan and Stroud was at Ohio State, but that doesn't come up in any other conversation because they just don't care. They have an agreement to never speak about it about college, and all that matters is the NFL from here on out.
Yeah, it's too bad we're not going to get to see Tank Dell in the playoffs. But this game should be really good. I'm interested in LJ's take before I make my pick, though.
Well, I agree with Fred. The Texans really have something going, especially for the future. But the Browns had a little resurgence with Joe Flacco there. Looked like Joe Flacco of old a little bit, especially hooking up with Amari Cooper, who I had in fantasy and had that 1 week that he just obliterated the entire game for me, which was great. But with the ball rolling and kind of the Texans going there with the Texans, I think it's going to go their way for sure.
I agree with both of you guys. I don't really want everyone to pick the Texans, though. That's kind of sad for Brownie fans. But honestly, I fucking hate the Browns for the whole Deshaun Watson thing anyway. So I am also going to take the Texans in a nail biter, though. I honestly think Joe Flacco, yeah, he has been making strides. He's been the best Browns quarterback that they've seen since Baker left, honestly. And the only thing,
but he was probably honestly better than Baker was for them.
Yeah, there's definitely a debate for that. The only thing with Flacco is, though, that he definitely makes mistakes, and I think the Texans are going to force some big mistakes out of him, and that's going to be the name of the game. I think they win off of a big interception from Flacco. Real quick, though, speaking of fantasy, LJ, did you come in last in both of our leagues?
I did not. Nope.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Nope. Not in Fred's league. I don't know how I didn't, but I beat Dylan. And
was Dylan
the loser?
Dylan
I don't know who the
Flacco?
loser championship went to, but I am not the Sacco this year, at least.
Not the double Sacco.
Thank God.
All right, yeah. So all three of us are taking the Texans. We are.
Yeah, and what's crazy with the Texans, don't interrupt there, but what's crazy with the Texans is they could have the offensive rookie of the year, the defensive rookie of the year, and head coach of the year all on the same team. They at least have candidates for all three. So that's pretty wild. And DeMeco Ryans has them playing at a super high level. And it was so funny to see, like, when he was signed, all the fans were just chanting Miko because he used to play for the Texans, and it was like a homecoming for him. But it's a great story, and love to see the Texans doing well. They're a fun team.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. It's going to be a good game, and I'm pretty excited for it. But let's move to Saturday night football in Kansas City. We got the Dolphins and the Chiefs, another huge storyline and another huge game. Tyreek Hill traded from the Chiefs to the Dolphins just a few years ago. The Chiefs immediately win a Super Bowl the first year without Tyreek Hill, but now Tyreek is coming back to the Big Red to face his old friends. And listen, the Dolphins have a lot of injuries, so hopefully they can get everybody back at least to close to full health for this one, because I want to see an absolute Mayday game. I don't think that was the right word, but I want to see a crazy game here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's a fun one. Tyreek is definitely going to be coming out to play, and I was asked the other day, like, why would the Chiefs trade him? Why would they trade somebody as good as Tyreek Hill? And it was his decision. It was what he wanted. He wanted to be out of the Chiefs because, in his words, Travis Kelce was attached to the hip with Mahomes, and he still is. He didn't want to be option B. He didn't want to be 1B. He wanted to be the guy, and he was never going to be that in Kansas City. And now he is with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are arguably the better team here. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Despite them losing last week to the Bills, I think they're a better team, especially if they're healthy. Right now, the Chiefs are coming into the playoffs a little, like, limping a little bit, and I think that the Dolphins can show out and upset the Chiefs here at home.
I like your take, man. LJ, what about you?
I agree with Freddie, of course.
Oh, no.
Actually, I don't even know what you picked, Dre.
I didn't pick yet.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I also agree with Freddie. But both teams are high octane offenses. We know that. I think the main thing between them now is the difference in their defenses as well, and those injuries. If they come swinging, they'll swing hard, especially if they get their guys back. But I'm thinking with the experience the Chiefs have, they're gonna pull this one off for sure.
Ooh, LJ going with the Chiefs. I like it, mixing it up a little.
Mhm.
I kind of agree with both of your takes. The Chiefs have been disappointing, obviously, the past month and a half. So hopefully they can get out of their way. I think playoff Mahomes is going to come out to play, though. I think they're going to make a huge game of it, but I just don't see Tyreek Hill letting this game go to the Chiefs. He's going to want to make a huge game out of this. He's going to be playing with his entire heart on the line here. And I think Tyreek Hill is going to get the last laugh. I'm going to go with the Dolphins in an absolute shootout in this one.
Yeah, and I think it will be a shootout. If the Dolphins were healthy on defense, I think they might be able to slow down and stop the Chiefs offense, especially with how weak they are at receiver. But in that Bills game, they took a litany of injuries, especially on the defensive side. Their major pass rushers both got injured that game. And if they can't make the Chiefs game, it's going to be all day passing for Patrick Mahomes. And as we've seen time and time again, if he has time in the pocket, he's going to make you pay. And this game could be extremely high scoring, which is really good for NFL fans.
Yeah, I agree. Taylor Swift, I assume, is going to be in attendance unless she's got some crazy event going on. So I think Travis Kelce is going to be balling out. I also think Travis Kelce, if the Chiefs lose, I really do think this could be his last game.
I do too. It's very possible. And I think he could very likely retire. I think it's very possible and just ride off into the sunset with Taylor. Yeah. It's funny, Talia, she when she found out that Travis Kelce wasn't playing in the Chiefs game, she was like, so he could have gone to the Golden Globes with Taylor. There's still time, Travis. Go. You have those giant suits. Just get one out of your closet and put one on.
It's like a movie where the guy's trying to race to get to the girl.
And then a reality TV show just comes out of this retirement.
Like Jay Cutler.
Forgot that Jay Cutler.
Yeah. Jay Cutler. We like Jay Cutler on this podcast.
We really do. Smoking Joe, man.
We've talked about him quite a few times. He's fun. He's a fun guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys love him.
He's chain smoking Ben Affleck.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck would be a perfect J. Cole. We've already talked about that, but
Yeah.
LJ, what do you think about Taylor Swift? Are you a Swiftie?
I actually am not. I do love this
Oh,
blank space. But that's about it. But when I did find
oh.
out that Taylor Swift was dating Travis Kelce, I'm like, oh God, everyone's gonna love the Chiefs now. Everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, they like doubled their fan base. It's ridiculous. They already
Hmm.
had a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, let's move. We've talked about Taylor enough. That's too much already. Let's move
Yeah.
to Sunday football. This is one that I'm going to be keeping a close eye. I'm watching all of them, obviously, but this one hits
Before
a
we
little.
get started, before we get
Oh,
started, I want to jump back to the Browns game real quick. Do you
Browns.
think they made the Browns Texans on the early slate because Joe Flacco is old and he was falling asleep at a night game on Thursday night?
No, no. I actually I was trying to predict what games were going to be played when, and I had the Browns and Texans here. I really think it's just because the Texans played early this last week, and they just wanted to throw them in early this week as well. That's my guess, at least. I don't think it's
I'm going
because
to say it's for Flacco because he was falling asleep on the sidelines Thursday.
There's a little time zone difference there too, right? I'm not sure how big, but
He also has
Yeah,
what, like 7 kids?
I have no idea how many kids he
He's
has.
probably
I
very
wouldn't be
tired. Having
surprised.
one kid, I'm very tired. So if he has like 7, I don't know how he's standing, let alone playing football. So,
Well,
um,
you're also not a world-class athlete like Joe Flacco.
I don't even think he remembers the kids' names. So there's a lot going on with it.
He was
A B
probably on
C
a
D.
crap load of
No,
painkillers too.
yeah,
Yeah, was
yeah,
that all you needed
that
to
was
say?
it. I
Was
just
that
wanted to
okay?
touch
All right.
on. Yeah.
All right,
All
yeah,
right.
Joe Flacco. Anyway, Sunday. Let's move to the Sunday games. This one hits a little close to, I would think, all of our hearts because we're from upstate New York originally. But yeah, Sunday at 1, we got the Steelers heading up to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I really want this to be a snow game. I don't think snow is coming though, unfortunately for me as a fan of snow games. But yeah, this one should be interesting. The Steelers, of course, had a huge injury. TJ Watt, I don't think I'd be shocked if he was able to go for this game after having that injury last
Yeah.
week. Do you remember what injury it was?
I don't. I think he hurt his. I mean, I know it was a lower body injury, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
I think it was with his knee, right? Something with his
Yeah.
knee.
Was it like an MCL sprain or something?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah. I
was a
mean, either
sprain.
way, he's probably not playing this week.
Yeah.
I mean, if he does, I mean, he's a maniac, so he could play. He just could pop a few painkillers and go right in. But I wouldn't put it past him. But without TJ Watt, it'll be tough sledding for the Steelers defense. He is the heart and soul of that defense and that team, really. So without him, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't buy Mason Rudolph doing much of anything against the Bills defense.
Mhm.
So
For
I
sure.
think it's probably going to be unanimous across the board here, but I'm going Bills in this game. They're going to be my hopeful here in the playoffs, and we'll get to the reasoning why later on in the late game slate. But yeah, I'm going Bills.
Yeah, I have a good feeling that also that we're all going to be going Bills, especially since I mentioned we're all from upstate. Like Bills are our second team for like all of us. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. No TJ Watt's going to make this really hard for that Steelers defense. They're still good, but TJ Watt is literally the sack leader in the NFL. He's a Hall of Famer in waiting already. And I was going to say he would be able to force Josh Allen into making some mistakes because he's been very mistake prone this year. And you never know. Josh Allen could just be going crazy, throwing crazy picks in this one anyway. But without the leader on that defense, I gotta trust Josh Allen and a good Bills defense to take care of business. Is Mason Rudolph going to be starting? I assume so. I don't think they've said if he is going to over Kenny Pickett though.
Yeah, it'd be pretty weird, I think, for them to just start Kenny Pickett this week when Mason Rudolph started the last 3 games.
He's
And they had
3-0.
said, and during the second start for Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett was able to play. And they were like, nah, you're going to be backup. And he straight up said, no, I'm not going to be backup. So he wasn't even active for the game. They said, all right, then don't shoot. So
I will. I will say for Kenny Pickett though, he did claim that was a lie. He
of
did
course.
claim that. I don't know if it was or not, but he claimed it.
But I mean, if it is not a lie, that could cause some turmoil in the offseason. Like, do they move on from Kenny Pickett? Do they trade him to a team that has pieces and just needs a decent quarterback? That another team might think Kenny Pickett has what it takes, and it's just not being realized in Pittsburgh. I don't know, but that's for an offseason discussion, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. LJ, what's your take, man?
Yeah, I mean, with the momentum they have with Rudolph, I don't see why he wouldn't keep on starting. But yeah, the TJ Watt injury is going to be big. A big plus for the Bills, at least, especially with, as you said, Dre, that, Josh Allen's been mistake prone all throughout the season. I mean, he has been for the last couple of years, but I think with a little bit of an offense change that they had midseason, he might be a little bit better in the playoffs. They got to really hunker down. But with that high octane Bills offense that they have and the momentum that they have as well going into the playoffs, being AFC champs for, what is this, their fifth year? AFC East
like
champs.
that.
So, I
fourth year
think
in a
we're
row.
all in agreement that we're going to give this one to the Bills.
Yeah, all in agreement. With Josh Allen, he's the type of player that he could literally just go crazy, kind of like Joe Flacco, Eli Manning playoff years, and take them all the way to the Super Bowl. Or he could just have a horribly bad game at any given moment and knock the Bills out of the playoffs. He's a wild quarterback.
Even just watching the game like against the Dolphins, some of the decisions that Josh Allen made were very puzzling. Because the Dolphins, the Bills controlled that game. They should have won by a lot, but Josh Allen had 3 turnovers in Miami territory, 2 of which were inadvertent passes that did not need to be made. And then he did miss a touchdown pass. He did Cook drop a wide open touchdown pass. So mistakes could have cost him the game, but then and it's been that way for years. Josh Allen leads the league since he's been in. He leads the league in interceptions and touchdowns, which is pretty crazy. And the gap between him and interceptions is massive.
Right. And he's got legs on him too. I think he should think about using his legs a little bit more than just forcing these passes as well, because he's pretty athletic for a guy that big.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's kind of gotten away from running as much as he did in his first few years. I don't know if that was the change from Dayball to Dorsey or if he just has made a decision like that. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. He should focus on the wheels a little more sometimes.
It's honestly so funny when he runs though, because he's so goofy, and he's just this massive guy, and he's not exceptionally fast, and he puts a juke move on somebody, and I feel like it's in Madden when your agility is not maxed out yet, and it's at a 30, but your elusiveness is at a 75, and you somehow have this juke move that is so slow, but the guy falls. It's that's how I feel it is when Josh Allen is running. It's everyone else it's he's in slow motion, and everyone just falls for it.
Yeah. One last note that I didn't hit on injuries. Gabe Davis did go down for the Bills in the Dolphins game. I'm not sure about his injury at this time. I hope that he can play because they need everybody.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that it'll matter this week because Khalil Shakir looked really good last week, and so did Sheffield, who I had never even heard of, honestly, but he looked really good. That toe tap catch that he had in the end zone was beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm ready to move to the 4:30 game.
Yeah, let's move.
Let's go. This is a team that all of us hate. The Packers are heading into Dallas to face the hated Dallas Cowboys. God, I really wish the Eagles didn't suck so badly that we're going to have to see Dallas football games in Dallas now for the playoffs. That's very unfortunate for anyone that is not a Dallas fan. LJ, why don't you start us off for this one, man? What do you think about this game, Packers and Cowboys?
I think it'll be a good game for sure. Both with high octane offenses led by really good QBs. Jordan Love has really come to his own this year for sure. He in the beginning, we were wondering, what are the Packers going to do? They have Love. They lost, Rodgers, their franchise QB, for so long. Everything's up in the air. Let's see what this guy can do. And he's really delivered. I think he's actually kind of overachieved in a little bit, especially he's, just so young. And I think, learning from Rodgers has helped him out. Although many people think Rodgers wasn't the best teacher as well. But hey, sometimes you can just learn on the fly as you watch, one of the legends really just throw it out there.
Rodgers, what's your secret? Ayahuasca.
But other than that, the Packers do have a solid offense. I think their defense has to really just step up against the Cowboys because we know that the Cowboys can and will score in this game. So, as they say, defense wins championships. We'll see if the Packers can keep the Cowboys at bay. But, the Cowboys are rolling too. So, especially well into the playoffs.
Now, are you going to make a pick, though? That's the
right. My heart says the Packers, but my head says the Cowboys got this.
So you're picking the Cowboys.
I'm picking the Cowboys. That's unfortunately.
New York. Yeah. No, those are good takes, man. For the Packers, they do have quite a few injuries. Hopefully all of the receivers are back. Even Dobbs got hurt this past week,
Oh,
which is it's just getting ridiculous over there. Hopefully we can see some of those guys back, but they just keep rolling without him. They're using their tight ends, they're using Love's legs, his arm, anything that they can and will do. And the running game has been great with Aaron Jones, so that's good. The Cowboys, Stephon Gilmore went down. Hopefully for them they can get him back in because that's kind of big. But listen, there's another story here in this game as well. Packers old head coach Mike McCarthy has been coaching for the Cowboys for a while now. He won a Super Bowl with the Packers. He's trying to do that with the Cowboys, and he's got to get through his old squad to try to get there. I friggin' hate Mike McCarthy. He's like the perfect Cowboys coach, in my opinion.
the fat man, as you say.
I was gonna say this fat little slob that lies about everything. But yeah, I'm on the same page as you, LJ. I would like to pick the Packers, but I just think the Cowboys are too talented on defense, and with CeeDee Lamb probably going to go off again here on offense. Packers defense has been up and down, but for the majority they've been kind of down, and the Cowboys are going to take advantage of them. And I don't see how the Packers can take this one, especially in Dallas. I don't see it happening. So yeah, I'm unfortunately taking the Cowboys as well.
Yeah, good takes, good takes. Yeah, Dallas, they've been so good at home. They're undefeated this season at home, and it's pretty wild. They should not be. They should have lost to the Lions at home, but that's another
Yes.
topic. But it should be a good game. Love has been very good. I think the offense really depends if Jaden Reed is healthy and able to suit up. It seems to flow around him, whether he's running the ball, whether he's receiving. I feel like almost every game he plays now gets 2 touchdowns a game. So he is the heart and soul of that receiving group at this point. And you know what? I'm going Packers in this game. So I'm going to say that Jair Alexander, who has been one of the best coverage corners in the NFL this season, is going to cover CD all day. He's going to shadow him, and he is going to limit him, not shut him down, because you can't shut CD down, but he's going to limit him. And if you limit CD, you stop the Cowboys offense. Outside of him, there's not much there. Other guys do perform, but it's because teams have to give so much attention to CD. If they can have Jair Alexander shadow him and be able to slow him down, I think they can win this game. And yes, the Cowboys have been very good at home, but one thing that they've been more consistent as being one thing you can bet on and rely on is if the Cowboys choke in the playoffs.
That's true. That's a fact. I have that written down. I didn't say
Dak chokes in the playoffs. So I'm going to say the Cowboys are going to choke again, especially because McCarthy, after the matchup came out that he was playing the Packers, he said, I don't care that we're playing the Packers. It doesn't matter who we play. We're going to win. And that confidence, that overconfidence, I think is going to be the detriment and is going to be the downfall of the Cowboys because they're going to get hit in the mouth and the Packers are going to come away with the W.
I hope so, man. So you're saying that Brandon Cooks, if CeeDee Lamb is stopped quite a bit, Brandon Cooks won't be able to make any big plays?
Not enough to get the win. It seems the only games that Brent, he's come on like well late. But it seems that the games that Cooks does do something are the games where the Cowboys put up 45, 50 points. They're games that they're not necessarily going against a good defense, and teams are double, if not triple teaming CeeDee Lamb. So he's on a linebacker for coverage. But if you can dish out like a decent coverage corner on Cooks, I think you're fine at this point in his career. I mean, he's still a good receiver, but he's not who he was a couple of years ago with the Rams, with the Saints,
Texans, right?
Texans. But yeah, I think the Packers can put enough pressure on Dak as well. He seems to be getting the ball out quicker with the West Coast offense there. But again, I don't have faith that the Cowboys are going to stay strong in the playoffs. They always choke in the playoffs. And what makes us think any differently?
Yeah, true. LJ, I'm interested. Fred and I think, are in agreement. The Cowboys are like our most hated team in the league. LJ, what's yours? I'm just interested.
Really?
Do you
I thought you guys already knew this. It's also the Cowboys for me.
That's what I thought. I thought.
For sure. Oh God. I mean, there's just so much history. Even in the last, 2 decades that I've been following football with you guys as well. It's just that mutual hate. It really brings a lot of the NFC East teams together too. Yeah. I mean, we got 2 Giants fans and an Eagles fan here, and our mutual hate for those Cowboys kind of bring us a little bit more together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because every single season, every Cowboys fan is like, this is our year. We're going to win it. And it's like, what are you talking about? You had 2 wins last season. How is it your year? Oh, we're gonna flip it around first to worst to first, and it's like, be realistic here, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I think every time a Cowboys
Yeah.
fan says that, an angel just dies. So there's a lot of fallen
Falls
angels
from the
these days.
sky.
A lot of fallen angels.
One thing I'm interested in this game, though, if the Cowboys do lose, like Fred is predicting, I think they could have a question on their hand about Mike McCarthy. I've seen a few
I saw
articles
that.
like, if they don't win this wild card game, is he the right coach for this team? Because they think they have what it takes to make a Super Bowl run, you know?
Yeah, their defense is pretty solid. Their offense has taken a huge step, but uh, again, the head coach has to get his team to perform in other ways that they are not. And it seems on the road, the Cowboys aren't performing. And then in big moments, they're not performing. So if they can't perform in the playoffs, which is a team like the Cowboys, a team like the Chiefs, a team like I don't know,
Yes,
Eagles.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, a team of those caliber, a team that has that aspiration. If you're not performing the playoffs, you're not getting the job done, and your job is always at jeopardy.
Yeah. I like him being there though because I hate him and I hate the Cowboys and I think he's a choke artist just like them. Anyway, I think we've talked about the Cowboys enough. Let's move
Yeah.
to Sunday night football. We got the Rams heading into Detroit to face the Lions, and this is like the big storyline. Fred, what is the storyline here? Because I've talked about it already.
Yeah. The storyline is Matt Stafford, baby. Matt Stafford and Jared Goff. So those who may be new to the NFL scene,
Switcheroo.
Matt Stafford was traded, longtime Lions legend. The Kingmaker in Detroit was traded from the Lions to the Rams and then subsequently won the Super Bowl with the Rams. And his replacement, who was traded from the Rams to the Lions, and Jared Goff is leading the number 3 seed Lions against the Rams. So it's a fun story here, and I like
Jared,
it. This is a great game.
yeah, it is a great game. And Jared Goff, mind you, he fell out in LA with the Rams. Sean McVay was like basically shit talking him by the end of his time in LA, and the Rams fans, he brought him to a Super Bowl, but he just lost all confidence by the end of everything. And you know, he's been brought back up in Detroit. Ben Johnson and that offense has been helping him out a lot. And he's kind of got to fight his old demons in this one, heading back to see his old team. And I think it's just going to be a really, really good game. The Lions, obviously, they lost Sam Laporta, unfortunately. He got the hyperextended knee, right? So he's probably going to miss this game.
Yeah.
I would assume he does. That's kind of huge for Detroit. He's a big part of it. He scored a lot of touchdowns, broke records. So that's big for them. I think this is going to be a fantastic game, though. I'm going to be rooting for the Lions. I really want them. They haven't won a playoff game since the early 90s, like over 30 years. And they haven't won a playoff game since I've been alive, for God's sakes.
They haven't won the division ever.
Yeah, this is their
Like,
first.
this is their first pennant for the division, which is insane. But the division used to be in the NFC Central, so they had, I think, 3 or 4 NFC Central division titles. But once they moved to NFC North, they did not have a title, and they finally got one.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, man. LJ, what do you think?
That's surprising to think with the Lions too, considering their history with Stafford and having Megatron for so many years. Like they were such a high octane offense themselves for the past decade, knowing those two were there.
They've had some really good squads, but they just had to deal with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers for so long, and Brett Favre and the Packers, and now Jordan Love and the Packers. So fucking Packers getting 3 franchise quarterbacks all in a row.
Yeah, and the Bears back in the day were really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that this is a huge window of opportunity for the Lions for sure, especially with the swap of quarterbacks just like this, which is, I think, like you said, Fred, is probably like the coolest and most intriguing storyline that we have here, and you said that too, Dre. But other than the quarterbacks, they do have solid key positions and key players in each position too. Between the Rams and the Lions, I mean, they can go toe to toe with every position that they have. Williams and Gibbs and Montgomery versus Gibbs and Montgomery, Puka and Cup versus I really wanted to say this, the Egyptian god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Sun God.
Yeah, the Sun God. I love the name, but also the way that he's been playing this year too with
He's also pissed
Goff.
off they got a Pro Bowl snub, so
Yeah.
he might want to perform here.
Yeah, I think he definitely has that, that in the back of his head to say, hey, I think I can beat the rest of those guys on the other side of the line as well. But
Yeah,
for
Puka's the one
me,
that got in over him, isn't he?
wasn't it right?
Yes,
Wasn't
it
it?
was Puka,
Oh,
but
yeah,
that's,
Puka
that's
had
another storyline.
Yeah,
but
which
Puka
is
had more yards and I think more receptions, so he should have made it over. Honestly, think Amon-Ra St. Brown had 2 more touchdowns, but
I think Amon-Ra had more. He had a good amount of touchdowns. He was top 5, I believe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're right. He was nasty. He had a nasty year.
But at the end of the day, my heart is voting for the Lions, and I think the Lions will pull this one off, and that'll be great for the city and great for the team too.
Hell yeah, he's picking the Lions. I love it. Yeah, I really want the Lions to win this. Like I said, 30 years plus since they've won a playoff game, and I really want Jared Goff to just mash a playoff win into Sean McVay's face. Like, oh yeah, you traded for this guy. I mean, they got the Super Bowl, but this is my year, baby. I really want the Lions to win it, but I feel like Lions fans are even confused about this one. Like, they want to win, obviously, but they love Matt Stafford still too. So
yeah.
I don't think they would be super mad if the Rams even pulled it off. And I really think that this is going to be a close game, but I think Matt Stafford is going to have a little extra juice being in a playoff atmosphere back in Detroit with all his old Detroit fans. We're probably going to see some Stafford jerseys in the crowd, and I think he's just going to have that little extra juice, and he's going to be unstoppable in this game. And I'm gonna say the Rams pull off the upset, and it's going to upset me too because I really want the Lions to win. And I think Stafford, he's going to get the fourth quarter win, comeback win maybe even, and I think he's going to get a standing ovation after getting the win from the Detroit crowd. I'd be shocked if they booed him, to be honest.
Yeah. We've said it time and time again right here. It's a great matchup. It's a fun matchup in so many ways. I mean, you have 2 rookie running backs going up against each other for the best rookie running back in the class, Kyron Williams versus Jahmyr Gibbs. So there's so many different storylines, but I think I got to go Rams in this. I want the Lions to win. If Laporta was there, I think it would be more Lions for me, but missing Laporta, missing a guy that is borderline 1,000-yard receiver in his rookie year is huge. It's massive. He's a mismatch nightmare as a tight end. And now essentially as a target, they just have Amon-Ra St. Brown now. They don't have the 2-headed monster there. The running back game is obviously still strong with Gibbs and Montgomery, but the Rams are no slouch against the run. They're top 10 against the run, so it probably will be tough sledding there. And I don't think both run games are going to be too effective. Kyron Williams might have a tough time against the number 2 run defense there in Detroit, so it's going to come down to the receiving game, and the Lions do not have a good pass defense. So I'm going to say that Stafford is going to light them up with Cooper and Puka.
Yeah, I imagine both of them will go off a little bit. So I agree with you there. I just kind of really hope the Lions win. I'm going to be so sad, but I mean, I like the Rams too, so I don't know.
I'd like to see either team win this game. This is one where I'm not upset with either outcome. I would love to see the Lions win because I do desperately want to see the Lions play the Cowboys again.
Yeah.
And I don't as long as the Cowboys lose, I'm happy, but I don't care who beats them. I just want to see the Lions show that they are the better team. It's just without Laporta, likely for the entire playoffs, I don't see it happening.
Yeah. The backup tight end is James Mitchell. I've never heard of that man, so
no.
I don't imagine he will be able to put up Sam Laporta numbers.
Laporta had one of the best rookie tight end seasons ever, so I don't think he's going to replicate the production that he was able to give.
Yeah, we could if the Cowboys win, we could see the Eagles and Cowboys in a matchup. That could be that. I would be
maybe
happy. I'd be happy to see that one of the teams I don't like knocking the other one out. Speaking of the Eagles, let's move though to Monday Night Football. Why do we have Monday night playoff games? I do not. But this one, Eagles heading into Tampa Bay because they couldn't keep the 2nd seed to face the Buccaneers, who barely eked out a win over a terrible Panthers team to make the playoffs. Both of these teams have been just disappointing in the past couple. Well, the Bucks actually a couple weeks ago didn't look bad, but last week both teams were horribly disappointing. Eagles lost to the Giants, and the Buccaneers barely beat the worst team in football. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I assume
Glad
you're
you're
going
an
to throw
Eagles
it to
fan,
me
Lee.
first because it's my team.
Yeah.
So if you didn't realize, you probably don't know what this place is behind me, but this is the Xfinity Center. This may or may not be where I'm watching the game this weekend. I have no idea. But the Xfinity Center is one of the weirdest places that I've ever been in my life. But it is a lot of fun and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, there's a food court. There's like 7 bars. There's a VIP section that overlooks everybody like you're the fucking king.
Are you going to
There's
be in the
go-go.
VIP section?
No, there's
Oh,
go-go dancers.
we haven't made
There's
it yet.
mechanical
just
bull.
sneak in.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
sneak in, dude.
it's an interesting, wild place, but it's fun. But I don't even know what to think of this. Like,
Dude, tell them that you have a podcast. They'll let you in.
That
there you go.
mustache
I
is
have an-
enough, Fred.
I have an NFL podcast. If you can't
be
tell
like,
by my
look at this.
mustache, I'm very important. So
Yeah,
Kind of the guy.
yeah.
Eagles had a big
but
injury in the last game too, didn't they? This week.
quite a few
Yeah.
actually.
Quite a few. So AJ Brown hurt his knee. We don't know what it is at this point yet, but he did walk off on his own, so that is a good sign.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts dislocated his middle finger, which was pretty gross looking because from the knuckle up, it was completely horizontal. So
It was
that
on
was
his
fun.
throwing hand too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was,
and then they
yeah.
continued to play him. They just taped his fingers together and continued to play him. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Sirianni? We don't need this game to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was
Dallas is not going to
Okereke's
lose to
hands.
the Commanders. Why are you playing him and just making it worse? And then the third injury, which is a serious injury, was Sidney Brown, who is a 5th-round rookie safety that they got out of Illinois. He was a hard-hitting Lito Shepard type.
He's the one that returned the kickoff. The other.
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yikes.
Yeah, so a lot of injuries in that game.
What about Devontae Smith? Wasn't he hurt
He
before?
sat out. Yeah, he sat out
with an ankle.
He should be ready for the playoffs. They sat a lot of starters, particularly on offense. They sat DeAndre Swift. They sat Fletcher Cox, but a lot of the older guys kind of sat.
And the ones they didn't they got hurt.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So it goes to tell you, sit your starters week 18 if you can. Like,
Yeah, so many injuries.
Eagles had injuries. Laporta potentially ruining the Lions playoff hope. Like
TJ.
TJ
TJ
Watt, yeah.
Watt, like
They couldn't
sit your
sit
starters
their
if you
guys,
can. They could have potentially not made the playoffs if they didn't win. So but like the Lions and the Eagles, they knew really where they were in the standings and they were just hoping for other teams to lose. So at that point, like it's luck if you improve your standing, just sit your starters.
Yeah, the Eagles will probably be missing Sidney Brown for the start of next year now.
Yep.
It's tough.
I like him. That's tough. I like him a lot. He's a
What
fun
do you
guy.
think about
He lays the hammer. But what do I think about the game? Yeah, so this is a tough game. The Buccaneers have a very good passing offense. The Eagles have a very bad pass defense. The Eagles have a very bad defense. Their defense is fucking terrible. It's so
They
weird.
were
They
good
started
last year, so that's weird. But
Yeah.
and honestly, this year they're the only team in the NFL that is top 10 in 4 different categories. I think it was win rate on pass rush, win rate on run defense, win rate on quarterback pressures, and then one other stat. But they're the only team that was top 10 and the only team that was top 5. But somehow they're not equating it to stops. So they're able to get to a quarterback in the backfield, but not get a sack. They're able to get to a running back in the backfield, but not stop them in the backfield. So it comes down to tackling in that aspect. But I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't have a ton of faith and a ton of confidence in them right now, but I can't not go the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles in this game because they're my team. I'm not going to say they're in the playoffs and they're going to lose. So we did go into Tampa Bay earlier this season and beat the Bucs pretty handedly. So I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going to say that they're going to turn it around, hopefully in the playoffs, and get to secure the W.
yeah, LJ, what do you think, man?
I'm going to have to agree with Fred too. As much as, I hate the Cowboys, I dislike the Eagles, but Eagles fans are definitely more tolerable. Between
Thanks,
the
I
two
appreciate
teams,
that. Everyone always says the Eagles fans are the worst fans in the NFL, and I'm like, hey, it's just a passionate fan base. Okay.
well, the thing is, I've never been to Philly, and I've never worn a jersey in Philly, and I don't think I would ever go to a Philly game with a Giants jersey on.
No. That's something
No.
you don't want to do.
That's a
doing
whole
it.
different story there.
I'm doing it
But
next year, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I might as
Fred,
well
you
the
might have to
Eagles
save me.
jersey and just watch over Dre because I don't know if he's going to come out of there
Yeah.
alive.
LJ, you want to go with us? We're planning on going to the Philly Giants game next year, hopefully.
Oh, I'm down. Hell yeah. Hell
Let's do
yeah.
it.
But I still might still wear an Eagles jersey.
Just wear a Bills jersey.
Then I get
Neutral.
heckled probably a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. But between these two teams, yeah, they haven't been performing as well lately as they have been throughout the whole season. Going back to what I said about Love with the Packers, it looks like Baker's kind of become a good quarterback for himself this past year. And he has, two really good wide receivers, Evans and Godwin. They've been doing really well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it really just depends on this Philadelphia Eagles defense and these injuries too. Can they stop it? Can they stop the pass? Can they stop these two really good wide receivers? But at this point, with I think the Eagles are going to kind of recuperate on everything. Hopefully this week will kind of help them out with the injuries and such. But otherwise, yeah, I'm picking the Eagles on this one too.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It's pretty interesting going into this game because Nick Sirianni's done obviously really good things for the Eagles. He's got them 3 playoff appearances in a row, 2 10-win seasons in a row. But the chatter in Philadelphia is that he could be on the hot seat with how they finish the season and how this game goes. So that kind of just makes me think that like the players do like him. The players do like playing for him. So they might get a little bit more amped to at least not be humiliated in the playoffs. So that's at least my hope. That's what I'm hearing from like the veterans like Cox, AJ Brown, Brandon Graham, Jalen Hurts. They're all vouching for Sirianni and saying like, no, we're going to fight for him. We just have to prove that we still got it in us. We got the dog in us. And Philly does like the underdog mentality. So
true.
Yeah.
I don't think they're underdogs in this game though, to be honest, with the Buccaneers. I think this is like the one team that they really wanted to play in the playoffs. They're the only team that's like kind of unproven. They've had good games, but like they barely made the playoffs, and last week they looked bad, but they do have 2,000-yard receivers, like LJ said. Mike Evans and Godwin have both gone over 1,000. Baker loves to throw to both of them. Mike Evans, probably a Hall of Famer in waiting. Godwin, quick, fast, he can get past you. And the only thing, like Baker Mayfield, he better wake up feeling dangerous before this game because I really don't think, even though the Eagles have played poorly for like a month and a half, I don't think they're going to wake up and just give this game to Tampa. No. They're going to be playing hard. They're going to be playing for their coach, for their paychecks, for this. They want to go back to the Super Bowl. And I think they're going to be playing for it. But listen, I've been talking up Baker Mayfield all year. I've been riding with him. I don't like the Eagles. I've been picking against them in sometimes even in a bad idea. They've given me a lot of losses on the year, but I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, probably the underdog in this game, probably picking an upset here, even though it's in Tampa. And I think it's going to be a tough, aggressive battle that leaves whichever team wins bloody and bruised and probably in bad shape for the divisional round. And I'm honestly a little nervous. This could be a snooze fest, but yeah, I'm going with the Bucs, and I'm saying Mike Evans wakes up and just turns into a monster in this one. Buccaneers, baby.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what's going on with Jalen Hurts. He comes into the games now and he just looks kind of lifeless there at quarterback. He's just like scanning over the field. There's no emotion on his face. He throws an interception. He's just chilling there. But when they were 10-1, when they were winning, that dude was like grinding out. That dude was amped. He was flexing on people and he was fun to watch. You need that guy to up and get his team in.
Maybe he got to 10-1 and was like, well, we're gonna make the playoffs, so who really cares about the regular season anymore? And he's just been going through the motions. But now playoff time's coming and he's like, oh, this is do or die time, baby. Maybe he'll be back.
Yeah. These are two teams that you don't want to enter the playoffs in the way that they experienced those games yesterday. So both of them really do have to wake up. I mean, the Eagles, and the Buccaneers, they faced 2 lowly teams. The Bucs barely scratched a win on there. The Eagles were just falling apart. And God bless those New York Giants, but they can't even lose quickly.
Yeah, same with the Cardinals, right? Cardinals beat the Eagles, and they had 3 wins on the season. They were in game for a top 5 pick, and here they are. Not in line for a top 5 pick. So, it's very interesting, and but honestly, the Eagles could have secured the home field advantage with those 2 wins. But hey, we would have played the Packers instead of the Bucs, and I think I'd rather play the Bucs. So
yeah. Facts. Well, that wraps up all of the wild card games. We had a couple games where we picked differently. We were kind of on the same page for most of it, though. Here, same idea for like everything. Do you guys got anything? LJ,
good, but
LJ, do you want to?
This has been fun.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. I was happy to get you on here, man. I haven't talked to you in a while, like in person either. So
It's been way too long, guys.
yeah.
Luckily, I saw Fred yesterday,
I saw
just
you
grinding out at the
yesterday.
gym, but
That's another wrap on another episode. The best way to support our show is to leave a rating or review on all platforms you listen on, and of course by liking the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, listen and subscribe. Follow on social media at Flea Flicker Show. Thank you, Flea Flicker Nation, once again for tuning in. And stay tuned for more info, more drops, merchandise, and a new jingle jangle. So signing off.
Peace.
go Giants.
Thank you.